Be confident. You will get everything in life. My friends, tonight I ask you to do something simple, yet profoundly powerful. Stand tall within yourself. Lift your head, breathe deeply, and feel the certainty that life bends to the shape of your conviction. You see, every man and woman carries within themselves the seed of greatness, but only those who believe in the harvest ever taste its fruits. Confidence is not arrogant. Confidence is the quiet knowing that what you have imagined, what you have desired already belongs to you in the unseen, and is only waiting for its appointed hour to break forth in your world. So tonight let us walk step by step into the understanding that you can be confident. You will get everything in life. Will believe before you see. My friends, let us begin tonight with a truth that will shatter the way you have been taught to view the world. For too long you have been told that life is a matter of observation, that you must first see something before you can believe in it. Yet the truth is precisely the opposite. It is not seeing that leads to belief. It is belief that gives birth to seeing. Think for a moment. Every invention, every discovery, every transformation in human history began in the unseen realm of belief. The airplane did not first exist in the sky. It first existed in the mind of a man who believed that flight was possible. The great buildings of the world were not first erected in stone and steel. They were first erected in the imagination of one who believed in their form before a single brick was laid. Every triumph, every creation, every great achievement began with belief. And so I say to you, your life too is shaped by the same law. If you want to be confident that you will receive all that you desire, you must reverse the world's order. Do not wait for evidence to give you permission to believe. Dare to believe before the evidence appears, and you will find that the evidence comes rushing to greet your belief. The illusion of the five senses. You see, the five senses are wonderful servants, but they are poor masters. The eyes report what is, not what can be. The ears echo only what already exists. The hands can touch only what has already taken form. If you live only by these senses, you will forever be trapped in the prison of the present moment. But within you lies something greater than the senses, your inner vision, your imagination, your faith. This is the power that sees beyond appearances, the faculty that beholds the invisible. When you train this inner eye to believe, you set in motion the unseen forces of life that shape the visible world. Belief is the seed. Picture a seed in your hand. It is small, ordinary, perhaps even unimpressive. To the senses it seems lifeless, yet hidden within it is the potential of a mighty tree. If you were to wait until you saw the tree before believing in the seed, you would never plant it. But the wise gardener believes before he sees. He plants the seed with certainty, waters it with care, and trusts that what he believes will manifest in time. So it is with your desires. They are the seeds of life. Believe in them before they take form, and you plant them in the fertile soil of your inner world. In time they must bear fruit. The courage to believe. Now I know this is not always easy. The world will mock you for believing in what it cannot see. It will call you foolish, unrealistic, even delusional. But I tell you this, the foolishness of faith is wiser than the wisdom of doubt. For doubt produces nothing but delay, while belief brings forth creation. Confidence then begins with courage. The courage to believe in your unseen vision, to hold to it even when the evidence is against you, to walk by inner sight rather than outer appearance. Living from the end. How does one practice this belief? The answer is simple, though profound. Live from the end. Imagine yourself already in possession of what you desire. Do not say, one day I will be free, one day I will be prosperous, one day I will be loved. Say instead, I am free, I am prosperous, I am loved. Feel the reality of it as though it were already true. Walk in it, breathe in it, clothe yourself in the certainty of it. The moment you dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are planting the seed of belief, and the world, though it may take time, must eventually conform to the image you have held within. Belief creates atmosphere. Have you noticed that some people carry an atmosphere of defeat, while others radiate victory? This is the outworking of belief. What you hold inwardly cannot be hidden. If you believe in lack, you will radiate lack, and circumstances of lack will cluster around you. If you believe in abundance, you will radiate abundance, and opportunities of abundance will seek you out. Confidence, then, is not merely a posture of the body but an atmosphere of the soul. It is the invisible fragrance of your belief, and it cannot be faked. Others will feel it, life will respond to it, and you will find that doors once shut begin to open. The law of reflection. Life reflects belief the way a mirror reflects a face. Stand before the mirror with a frown, and the reflection frowns back. Smile, and the reflection smiles. In the same way, if you approach life with doubt, fear, and hesitation, life will return to you delay, resistance, and frustration. But if you approach it with belief, certainty, and confidence, life will reflect to you opportunity, success, and fulfillment. Do not curse the mirror, change the face you show to it. Do not blame life, change the belief you hold within. The immediacy of inner acceptance. Here is the secret. The moment you accept something as true inwardly, it is yours. The outer world may take days, weeks, or months to catch up, but the claim has already been made. You need not wait for a sign. You need not demand a guarantee. The guarantee is the inner acceptance itself. Once you believe, the thing believed in has already begun to move towards you. You can choose to dwell in doubt, or you can choose to dwell in faith. The mind is like a garden. If you do not deliberately plant seeds of belief, weeds of doubt will grow by default. Each day you must tend this garden. You must say to yourself, I choose to believe in my vision. I choose to trust in the unseen. I choose to live as though it is already so. And when you make this choice again and again, belief becomes natural, and confidence flows like a river. A living example. Think of the one who desired freedom when he was still in chains. He believed before he saw, and his belief gave him the strength to endure until freedom was made manifest. Think of the one who dreamed of healing while his body still ached. He believed before he saw, and his belief opened the door to recovery. Think of the one who imagined wealth while his pockets were empty. He believed before he saw, and his belief drew to him the opportunities that changed his fortune. These are not rare miracles. They are the natural fruits of belief. What they did, you too can do, if only you will dare to believe before you see. Closing of step 1. So tonight I ask you, what is it you long for? What vision burns within you? Do not wait for proof. Do not demand a sign. Begin now to believe. Stand in the unseen reality with confidence, and you will find that the seen reality must in time conform. Remember, belief precedes sight. Believe before you see, and soon you will see what you have believed. T. Claim it as yours now. My friends, let us go deeper tonight. You have heard it said that if you desire something, you must pray for it, hope for it, wait for it, and one day perhaps it will be given to you. But I tell you, this is not the way of true confidence. The truth is this: you must claim it as yours now. There is a vast difference between wishing and claiming. Wishing says, I hope someday I will have it. Claiming says, it belongs to me already. Wishing waits for the world to grant it permission. Claiming declares that the permission has already been given. The moment you move from wanting to possessing, the atmosphere of your life shifts. You cease to be a beggar standing at the door of life, and you become an heir, entering your own inheritance. The language of ownership. Think of the difference in these words. I want success versus I have success. One is the cry of lack. The other is the song of abundance. One says, it is not here yet. The other says, it is mine already. And life always echoes back to you the language you speak. If you speak in the language of wanting, you will forever live in want. If you speak in the language of possession, the world will conspire to prove you right. The posture of claiming. When you claim something, you stand differently, you breathe differently, you act differently. Imagine two men in a marketplace. One looks at the goods and says, oh, how I wish I could afford this. The other looks at the same goods and says, this is mine. Who do you think walks away with his desire fulfilled? Not the one who begged, but the one who claimed. For claiming is not arrogance, it is alignment with truth. You are not stealing, you are not deceiving. You are recognizing that what belongs to you in spirit must, in due season, belong to you in form. Desire is proof of ownership. Here is a mystery. You could not desire a thing unless, at some level, it already belonged to you. The desire itself is the evidence of ownership. The hunger is proof that food exists. The thirst is proof that water is real. So too your desire is proof that what you seek is already yours in the unseen. When you understand this, you stop treating desire as a sign of lack. You see it instead as a sign of possession. You do not say, one day I hope to have this. You say, this desire reveals what is already mine. And with that shift, you claim it now. The inner act of claiming. How do you claim? Not with noise, not with struggle, but with quiet certainty. You close your eyes, you step into the picture of your fulfilled desire, and you rest there. You feel it as yours, you accept it as complete, and you refuse to return to the posture of begging. The outer world may still look unchanged. The bank account may still show emptiness. The body may still ache. The relationships may still appear broken. But if inwardly you have claimed, then the change has already occurred. The outer must, in time, follow the inner. From begging to owning, many live their whole lives as beggars in the kingdom of life. They pray with desperation, plead with the universe, cry out to the heavens, please give me what I lack. But true power is not found in begging. True power is found in ownership. When you claim, you do not say please, you say thank you. You do not knock at the door, you step across the threshold. You do not hope, you know. This is the difference between a child asking for supper and a child sitting at the family table. The one who asks is uncertain. The one who sits knows he belongs. The energy of certainty. When you claim something, you radiate certainty. Others may not know why, but they sense it. You walk differently. You carry yourself with assurance. You do not chase after things because you know they are already yours. And like iron filings to a magnet, they move toward you. Confidence is this energy of ownership. It is not loud, it is not boastful, but it is immovable, and the world cannot resist it. The story of two lives. Consider two men with the same dream. The first says, I hope one day I will achieve this. He works hard, but beneath his effort is the vibration of lack. He chases, he struggles, and even when he achieves, he feels it may slip away. The second man says, this is already mine. He works, yes, but his work is not striving, it is expression. He does not chase, he attracts. He does not struggle, he aligns. And what he claims inwardly soon becomes visible outwardly. Both may labor, but their results are worlds apart. Claiming breaks delay. Many wonder why their desires linger, why fulfillment seems delayed. The reason is simple. They continue to want instead of claim. As long as you want, you affirm that you do not have, and life faithfully reflects that lack. But the moment you claim, the moment you say within yourself, it is mine, you collapse the distance between now and fulfillment. You stop pushing it into the future, and you bring it into the present. Gratitude seals the claim. When you have claimed, your natural response is gratitude. Gratitude is not a ritual. It is the overflow of ownership. You do not thank for what you hope will come. You thank for what you know is already yours. Try it. Tonight, take your desire in hand and say, this is mine. Then give thanks, not as though you are practicing positive thinking, but as though you are acknowledging a fact. That thanksgiving seals the claim. Claiming and waiting. Some will say, but if I claim it now, why do I not see it instant? And I answer, the moment a seed is planted, it is already a tree in essence. But the appearance of the tree takes time. Would you dig up the seed every day to see if it has sprouted? No, you plant it and trust. So too, once you claim, you do not need to demand instant evidence. You rest in the assurance that what is yours cannot be denied. Delay is not denial, it is simply the unfolding of time. So I ask you tonight, will you remain a beggar or will you become an heir? Will you spend your life wishing, or will you rise in confidence and claim what is already yours? Stop saying, one day. Stop saying, if only. Begin to say, this is mine, here and now. Walk in that certainty, rest in that possession, and watch as life itself rises to confirm your claim. For the truth is this, nothing is withheld from the one who dares to claim it now. Feel the end result. My friends, tonight we come to a key that unlocks every door of life. Many believe that thought alone is enough, that wishing, imagining, or even repeating affirmations will bring them what they desire. But thought without feeling is like a seed without water. It remains dry, lifeless, and unable to grow. The secret is this: you must feel the end result. For it is not cold thinking that shapes reality. It is the living fire of emotion, the embodied conviction that what you seek is already yours. Feeling is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between imagination and manifestation. Why feeling matters? Let us be clear, you do not attract what you want, you attract what you feel. You may want abundance, but if you feel lack, lack will follow you. You may want health, but if you feel sick in every thought, sickness will remain. You may want love, but if you feel unworthy, you will repel the very thing you seek. The universe does not respond to words spoken with the lips. It responds to vibrations felt in the heart. The language of life is feeling, and every outcome is a mirror of the atmosphere you carry with. Thought versus feeling. Consider the difference between saying, I am free, and actually feeling free. One is mere sound. The other is power. A man in chains can repeat, I am free 1,000 times and yet still live in bondage if he feels enslaved. But let that same man, in the silence of his heart, imagine the weight of those chains gone. Imagine himself walking into the sunlight with a free man's joy, and let him feel the lightness of liberty and watch how life begins to rearrange itself to match that inner state. This is why many grow weary in their practices. They speak words without feeling. They imagine images without entering them. They think of their desire instead of thinking from, living from the end. To feel the end result means to occupy the state of fulfillment now, not tomorrow, not someday. Now, it means that you no longer imagine yourself standing outside your desire, hoping to enter. Instead, you step into it, inhabit it, and wear it as though it were already your reality. Do you want wealth? Then feel the relief of bills paid, the security of abundance, the freedom of generosity. Do you want love? Then feel the warmth of companionship, the safety of belonging, the joy of being cherished. Do you want health? Then feel the vitality of energy flowing, the strength of your body renewed, the ease of living in wholeness. The moment you feel these things, truly feel them, you plant the seed of their manifestation. Imagination made real through feeling. Imagination by itself can be like watching a play. You see it, but you remain an observer. Feeling, however, makes you the actor. It draws you into the scene until the imagined world becomes more real than the physical one. Picture yourself standing in your dream home. Don't merely see the walls, touch them. Feel the texture beneath your fingers. Don't only imagine the sounds. Hear them, the laughter of loved ones, the echo of your footsteps on the floor. Don't only picture the air. Smell it. Breathe it in. Let it fill your lungs. Let every sense be engaged until your body cannot tell the difference between the imagined and the real. For when the body feels it, the subconscious accepts it, and once accepted, the outer world must conform. Feeling creates faith, you may ask. But how do I believe when I see nothing yet? The answer is through feeling. Faith is not a mental exercise, it is an inner experience. You can convince your mind 1,000 times, but until you convince your heart through feeling, belief will not hold. When you feel the end, you need no further proof. The feeling itself is the proof. You know it because you have lived it inwardly. And once lived inwardly, the outer world becomes powerless to shake that conviction. The power of assuming the tone. Every fulfilled state has a tone, a mood, a vibration. Find that tone, assume it, and hold it. Success feels a certain way. Peace feels a certain way. Love feels a certain way. Abundance feels a certain way. Ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were fulfilled right now? Do not answer with logic. Answer with sensation. Breathe it in. Stand in it. Saturate yourself with it. That tone, once assumed, draws to you circumstances in harmony with it. The discipline of feeling. This is not a one-time act. It is a discipline. Each day you must return to the end and feel it again. When doubt creeps in, return to the feeling. When appearances contradict you, return to the feeling. When others laugh at your vision, return to the feeling. Feeling is your refuge, your anchor, your inner fortress. No matter what storms rage outside, when you hold to the feeling of the end, you are unshaken. Stories of transformation. Think of the one who was poor, yet nightly went to bed feeling the satisfaction of wealth. He did not simply imagine numbers in a bank account. He felt the freedom, the relief, the pride of providing, and life, unable to resist that vibration, brought him opportunity after opportunity, until his outer world matched the feeling he had long carried inside. Think of the one who was sick, yet in meditation felt the joy of health. She walked in her mind through gardens, felt the sun on her skin, breathed deeply the air of strength, and soon her body responded to the pattern her feeling had established. These are not fantasies, they are demonstrations of law. What you feel consistently, you become. The trap of half-belief. Many fail because they dabble in feeling. They test it for a moment, then return to doubt. They dip their toe into the waters of fulfillment, but never dive in. They carry two conflicting vibrations, hope mixed with fear, desire mixed with despair, and so life reflects their divided state. You must give yourself fully to the end. Half feeling produces half results. Total immersion produces transformation. Gratitude and feeling. One of the simplest ways to feel the end is through gratitude. Gratitude says, "It is done." Gratitude says, "It is mine." When you give thanks, not for what is coming, but for what already is, you enter the feeling of completion, and that completion calls forth the outer confirmation. So tonight I urge you, do not stop at thought, do not linger in wishful daydreaming. Step into the end and feel. Let your heart taste the sweetness of fulfillment. Let your body know the strength of accomplishment. Let your soul rest in the certainty of possession. When you feel the end, the journey is already complete. The world may take time to reveal it, but the seed is planted, the law is set, and the harvest is assured. Remember this, you do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you feel. So feel the end result, and the end result will be yours. 4. Refuse doubt any voice. My friends, we have spoken of belief, of claiming, of feeling the end result. But now we must face the greatest enemy of all, doubt. Doubt is subtle. It creeps in quietly, whispering in the dark corners of the mind. It says, what if you are wrong? What if it never happens? What if you are only deceiving yourself? And if you listen even for a moment, doubt takes root. Understand this. Doubt does not need to shout to be powerful. A single whisper of doubt can cancel hours of faith. One small crack in the wall of conviction can let the floodwaters rush in. So tonight, let me tell you, you must refuse doubt any voice. Do not entertain it. Do not argue with it. Do not give it even a second of your attention. Shut the door firmly and walk on. Doubt is the shadow of faith. Doubt always follows faith. The very moment you step into belief, doubt will rise up to challenge it. Why? Because the old self, the old state, does not want to die. Doubt is the voice of your past trying to keep you where you are. But a shadow has no power except what you give it. It cannot harm you unless you bow to it. Refuse its voice, and it will vanish. The voice of doubt, listen carefully to how doubt speaks. It's too late for you. You've failed too many times. You're not worthy of that life. What if nothing changes? Have you heard these voices before? Of course you have. We all have. But let me remind you, none of these voices are truth. They are echoes of fear, nothing more. They are illusions, not laws. If you allow them to speak, they will become chains. But if you silence them, you will rise into freedom. Refusing to argue. Many make the mistake of wrestling with doubt, trying to argue against it. But the more you argue, the more real it becomes. Energy flows where attention goes. And every moment spent debating doubt is energy stolen from your vision. Do not argue, ignore, do not debate, dismiss. Turn your gaze back to the end result and stand there. The only way to starve doubt is to refuse its attention. The discipline of silence. Think of your mind as a house. Doubt knocks at the door, demanding to be let in. If you open the door even a crack, it will push its way through. But if you remain silent, if you refuse to answer, the knocking will fade and the voice will depart. This is the discipline of silence. When doubt calls, do not pick up. When fear whispers, do not respond. Stay centered in your conviction, and eventually those voices lose their power. Confidence cannot share a throne. Confidence and doubt cannot rule the same heart. One must bow before the other. If you allow doubt to remain, confidence will shrink. But if you enthrone confidence, doubt will flee. It is a choice. Each day, each moment you decide, will I listen to the voice of fear, or will I hold fast to the voice of faith? The power of inner rehearsal. When doubt whispers, it will not happen. Do not waste energy fighting it. Instead, turn immediately to your inner rehearsal. Step again into the scene of your fulfilled desire. Feel the joy of completion. Taste the victory. Breathe the atmosphere of success. The moment you re-enter the end, doubt loses its ground. for doubt lives only in the barren desert of not yet. But when you stand in the reality of already done, there is no place for doubt to dwell. The subtle mask of logic. Be wary, doubt often wears the mask of logic. It says be realistic. Look at the facts. Look at your past. Look at the odds. But remember, logic is a tool of the senses, and the senses can only report what already is. If you listen to this so-called realism, you will forever be chained to the visible world. True vision is not bound by logic. It creates beyond logic. What was once impossible becomes inevitable when held in unwavering conviction. So do not be fooled by the respectable voice of doubt disguised as reason. Silence it as you would silence any other lie. Doubt as a test. When doubt rises, see it not as a curse, but as a test. Every great vision must be tested before it is born. Doubt is that test. It asks you, do you really believe? Will you stand firm? Will you hold fast even when appearances mock you? If you answer with conviction, if you refuse doubt its voice, then you pass the test, and your desire moves closer to birth. The story of two responses. Two people face the same doubt. One listens. He says, perhaps they are right. Perhaps I am foolish. Perhaps this will never happen. He turns back, and his vision dies. The other hears the same doubt but refuses to listen. He closes his ears, holds to the end, and continues forward. And soon, what seemed impossible becomes his reality. The same doubt, the same voice. Two responses, two destinies, anchoring in the end. How then do you refuse doubt any voice? By anchoring yourself so deeply in the feeling of the end, that no contradiction can move you. Doubt says, you cannot. You reply not with words, but with inner experience. I already have. When the feeling of fulfillment becomes stronger than the noise of appearances, doubt has no power. Gratitude silences doubt. Another weapon is gratitude. When doubt whispers, what if it never happens? Respond by giving thanks that it already has. Gratitude is a declaration of victory, a song of completion. It shifts your focus from lack to possession, from fear to faith. And in the presence of gratitude, doubt falls silent. So tonight I say to you, guard the doorway of your mind. Doubt will knock, but you need not answer. Fear will whisper, but you need not listen. Logic will argue, but you need not obey. Stand in your vision, hold to your claim, feel the end is real. And when doubt comes, refuse it any voice. For confidence is not the absence of doubt, it is the refusal to give doubt power. Silence the lies and truth will speak louder. Starve the shadow and light will shine brighter. Refuse doubt any voice, and you will walk unshaken into the life that is already yours. 5. Walk as though it is done, my friends. Tonight we step into the practice that separates the dreamers from the doers, the wishers from the creators, the seekers from the finders. It is one thing to believe. It is another thing to claim. It is another to feel. But now comes the true test. To walk as though it is already done. This is the mark of the confident one. They do not wait for evidence before acting. They embody the end before the world catches up. They live, speak, and move as if their desire were already accomplished. The difference between waiting and walking. Most people wait. They wait for the job before they feel successful. They wait for the love before they feel lovable. They wait for the healing before they feel whole. They say, when it happens, then I will rejoice. But confidence flips the order. Confidence says, because I know it is done, I walk in joy now. Because I know it is mine, I carry myself with assurance now. Because I know it belongs to me, I live as though it were already here. Waiting postpones. Walking accelerates. Walking is the proof of belief. Anyone can say, I believe. But words are easy. The true proof of belief is action. If you truly believe that your dream is already fulfilled, you will naturally act differently. You will speak with a different tone. You will carry yourself with a different posture. You will make decisions in alignment with the life you know belongs to you. The one who only wishes will hesitate. The one who truly believes will walk. The inner posture creates the outer. You may say, but how can I walk as though it is done when nothing has changed? The answer is, it has changed in you, and the inner change is the cause of the outer. If you walk in the posture of lack, the world will mirror lack. But if you walk in the posture of fulfillment, the world must mirror fulfillment. The outer is only a shadow. The substance is the inner state you embody, the subtle power of conduct. Consider this. You walk into a room without saying a word. People sense something about you. They pick up your confidence or your insecurity. They feel your certainty or your doubt. This is the silent language of conduct. When you walk as though it is done, you radiate an invisible authority. You need not announce it. Others will feel it. Life itself will feel it. Circumstances will bend to meet it. Imagination in motion. Walking as though it is done is imagination in motion. It is not just sitting quietly and seeing yourself successful. It is carrying that success into your daily life. It is allowing the picture within to dictate your behavior without. If you are wealthy within, how would you speak to others? If you are loved within, how would you walk into a room? If you are whole within, how would you treat your body? Let the answers guide your steps, acting the part. Do not mistake this for pretending. Pretending is empty play acting with no inner conviction. Walking as though it is done is different. It springs from the inward knowing that what you imagine is real, and so you allow your behavior to flow from that truth. It is not fakery. It is alignment. You are not forcing something that is not true. You are expressing what is true in the unseen. He did not wait for wealth to change his conduct. He walked each day with the dignity of one who already possessed abundance. He dressed as best he could. He carried himself with pride. He gave generously from what little he had, and soon the world mirrored the state he had been walking in all along. Or think of the woman who desired love. Instead of waiting to be chosen, she began to live as though she were already cherished. She cared for herself, celebrated herself, walked with grace, and in time love appeared in her life, because she had already been living it inwardly. These are not accidents, they are the outworking of a principle. Walking breaks the old state. Every state of being has its own habits, its own posture, its own rhythm. The state of lack slouches, hesitates, apologizes. The state of abundance stands tall, decides boldly, gives freely. The state of fear shrinks back. The state of faith moves forward. When you begin to walk as though it is done, you break the habits of the old state. Each step you take is a declaration: I am no longer that, I am this. And the more you walk in it, the more natural it becomes, until the old state dies away and the new state is all that remains. The courage to appear different. At first this may feel strange. Others may not understand. They may even mock you, saying, "Who do you think you are?" Acting as though you already have what you don't. But remember, they cannot see what you see. They cannot feel what you feel. You are walking by inner sight, not outer appearance. And if you persist, the very ones who mocked will one day marvel at your transformation. Walking is worship. When you walk as though it is done, you are declaring trust in the unseen. You are saying, I know that what I desire already belongs to me, and I honor that truth with my conduct. This is a kind of worship, not of an idol, not of circumstance, but of the law of life itself. It is the highest form of faith because it moves beyond words into embodiment. The ease of walking. Here is the beauty. Once you begin, walking as though it is done becomes easier than living in contradiction. To act small while dreaming big is exhausting. To pretend to lack when you know abundance within is heavy. To speak of hope while feeling fulfillment is draining. But when your walk matches your inner vision, there is harmony, and life becomes lighter. Confidence flows naturally, because you are no longer divided. So tonight I call you to rise above waiting. Do not sit idle until the world confirms your vision. Confirm it yourself by the way you walk, by the way you speak, by the way you live. Carry yourself as one who already possesses the life you desire. Make decisions from that place. Treat others from that place. Treat yourself from that place. And though the outer world may take time to reflect it, it must in the end yield. For the one who walks as though it is done will surely see it done. Remember this. Confidence is not sitting in hope. It is walking in fulfillment. Walk as though it is done, and one day you will look around and realize it. 6. Turn imagination into habit. My friends, imagination is not meant to be a fleeting visitor. It is meant to be your constant companion. It is not a tool you pick up only in moments of desperation, but a way of life, a rhythm of being, a continual unfolding of the world within you. And tonight we move into the step that transforms your entire journey. Making imagination a habit. The power of repetition. Consider any skill in life. A musician does not master his craft by touching the instrument once a week. A runner does not prepare for the race by running once a month. A painter does not sharpen her art by lifting the brush on occasion. It is practice, repeated again and again, that turns action into instinct, effort into ease, choice into nature. So it is with imagination. The more you enter into it, the more natural it becomes. What once felt like work becomes second nature. What once felt like a technique becomes your very way of seeing. The problem with occasional use, too many people treat imagination as an emergency measure. They turn to it when problems strike, when needs are urgent, when life has backed them into a corner. They say, let me imagine now, let me create now, but once the crisis passes, they return to their old ways of thinking, doubting and fearing. This is why their results are inconsistent, for they live divided lives, believing in imagination in one moment, but forgetting it in the next. But the one who makes imagination a habit is never without power. For even when challenges come, they do not scramble for a technique. They are already living it, the new default. Think of habit as the default of the mind. You do not remind yourself to breathe. It flows. You do not remind yourself to walk. Your body remembers. In the same way, when imagination becomes habit, you do not need to force yourself to remember it. It arises naturally. Where others see obstacles, you see possibilities. Where others fall into fear, you rise in vision. Where others say it is impossible, you instinctively ask, what would it feel like if it were already done? This is the power of making imagination your new default, training the mind. How then do we form this habit? By training the mind, as you would train the body, by consistent repetition, by daily practice, by deliberate focus. Each morning, instead of rising in worry, choose to rise in vision. Each night, instead of falling asleep in fear, choose to fall asleep in fulfillment. Each idle moment, instead of drifting into doubt, choose to enter into the end you desire. At first it requires effort. At first the old patterns pull you back, but with persistence, the new patterns become stronger, until they dominate, until they are automatic. The law of substitution. The mind abhors a vacuum. If you do not direct it, it will fall back into old grooves of fear and limitation. That is why imagination must not be left for special occasions. It must fill the mind daily. Whenever an old thought arises, do not fight it. Substitute it. Replace it with the image of what you desire. Replace the feeling of lack with the feeling of fulfillment. Replace the vision of failure with the vision of success. Do this often enough, and the new images take root. Soon they grow stronger than the old, and soon the old patterns die away, replaced by the living habit of imagining. Stories of transformation. There was once a man who desired help. After years of weakness, at first he imagined help only when sickness weighed heavy upon him. But soon he realized he must make imagination his daily companion. Each morning he saw himself strong. Each night he felt himself whole. Every idle moment he turned his inner eye to the picture of help. Slowly, it became habit. And then, what was once a fragile hope became his lived reality. His body followed the rhythm of his inner habit. Or consider the woman who longed for success in her craft. She would imagine only when doubt crushed her, only when failure loomed. But when she began to practice daily, seeing herself already celebrated, already accomplished, her actions shifted, her confidence grew, and doors opened before her. The difference was not talent, nor opportunity. It was habit, the invisible discipline. This habit is invisible to others. They may see your outer life and not understand the secret that fuels it. They may marvel at your calm, your confidence, your unshakable faith, but within you know, it is because imagination has become your way of life. This discipline is silent, but its effects are loud. This training is unseen, but its results cannot be hidden. Persistence without strain. When imagination is a habit, you no longer strain to believe. Belief flows. You no longer struggle to hold the vision. The vision holds you. You no longer fear falling back, because the new rhythm carries you forward. It is like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, every motion is deliberate, every balance uncertain, but once mastered, it becomes effortless, automatic, unconscious. So it is with imagination. Living in two worlds. Do not think this habit makes you blind to the outer world. No, it makes you master of it. For while others are chained to appearances, you carry within you a higher sight. You may walk in the same streets, face the same challenges, hear the same news as others, but where they are moved by appearances, you are moved by imagination. Where they react in fear, you act in vision. Where they bow to facts, You bow to truth within, and because you live from within, the without must follow. The reward of habit. What then is the reward of making imagination a habit? Confidence that does not waver, peace that does not break, power that does not fail. When imagination is a habit, nothing can shake you for long. Circumstances may shift, appearances may mock, delays may come, but you remain steady, for you know the end. You feel the end. You live in the end, and in time the world bends to meet you there. So tonight I urge you, do not let imagination remain a visitor in your life. Invite it to stay. Let it become your daily rhythm, your constant friend, your guiding star. Turn imagination into habit, and it will turn your life into wonder. Make it as natural as breathing, as constant as heartbeat, as effortless as walking. And one day you will look back and realize you did not simply use imagination for a moment. You lived imagination as a way of being, and in doing so, you created a life that others call impossible. Remember this truth: occasional use produces occasional results. Habitual use produces inevitable results. Make imagination your habit, and your confidence will rise, your world will change, and everything you desire will find its way to you. 7. Speak from the end. My friends, we have come to a vital step on this journey, one that holds the power to shape not only your thoughts, but the very words that leave your mouth and echo in your heart. It is this: learn to speak from the end, the power of inner speech. Every word you speak, whether aloud to others or silently within yourself, is a seed, and every seed must bring forth after its kind. We are told that life and death are in the power of the tongue. This is not poetry, it is law. Fear in a conversation you maintain day and night is the invisible architect of your destiny. You may believe you are imagining your desire, but if your inner speech contradicts your vision, then your speech will win. For imagination creates the seed, but speech waters it, and watered daily, it must grow. What does it mean to speak from the end? To speak from the end is to let every word you utter carry the fragrance of fulfillment. It is to speak not as one hoping, but as one possessing, not as one reaching, but as one resting. If you desire success, your speech must flow as though success is already your nature. If you desire love, your words must be filled with the language of one already cherished. If you desire abundance, your conversations must rise from the position of one who already lives in plenty. When you speak from the end, your words align with your vision, and your vision begins to clothe itself in flesh. The subtle sabotage of negative speech. But here lies the challenge. Many imagine beautifully in silence, yet undo it with careless speech. They picture wealth but say, I can't afford this. They imagine health but confess, I am always tired. They see success but declare, nothing ever works out for me. And so the tongue betrays the imagination. The lips expose the disbelief that lingers within, and the result, a divided self, a house split against itself, unable to stand. This is why speaking from the end is not optional. It is essential. It is the discipline that unites imagination and word, vision and expression, thought and sound, speaking as if already fulfilled. So how then do we speak from the end? By training the lips, as we have trained the mind, by letting no idle word slip through that denies our destiny, by catching ourselves in mid-sentence and turning it around. Instead of saying, I hope it works out, say, it is working out. Instead of confessing, I don't know what I'll do, declare, the way is already made. Instead of murmuring, I can't, proclaim, I can, and I already have. Speak as though the desire were yours now, for in the unseen, it already is. Your speech must echo the reality you claim within, the voice of confidence. When you hear a person speak, you can feel their confidence or their lack of it. In the same way, the universe responds, not to begging words, but to confident declarations. If you ask timidly as though doubtful of your own power, you will wait endlessly. But if you speak boldly, with the assurance that what you say is already accomplished, then life bends itself to match your tone. For the voice of confidence carries authority, and the authority is not in the loudness, but in the certainty. Rewriting conversations. Think of the countless conversations you hold each day, both with others and within yourself. These are opportunities, each one to rehearse the end. When a friend asks how you are, do not repeat the old story of struggle. Speak from the end. I'm moving forward. I'm better every day. Things are unfolding beautifully. When your own mind whispers fear, answer back. No, I stand in the end. It is already done. I walk as though fulfilled. Rewrite the script of your conversations, and you will rewrite the script of your life. A story of transformation. I once knew of a man who longed for promotion in his work. He imagined it at night, but by day he sabotaged himself with speech. He told his colleagues, I'll never be noticed. It's impossible here. They always overlook me. And indeed he was overlooked, for his words betrayed his vision. But when he learned the power of speaking from the end, everything changed. He stopped confessing lack and began declaring fulfillment. To anyone who asked, he spoke as though already elevated. Even in private, his inner speech echoed success, and soon, his outer world had no choice but to rise to meet his words. The promotion came, and not only the promotion, but the confidence to command even greater heights. The law of consistency. Do not imagine one thing and speak another. Consistency is the key. Align imagination, feeling and word, until they move as one. When you hold the image of health, feel the state of health, and speak words of health, then health must appear. When you hold the image of wealth, feel the abundance, and speak from abundance, then abundance must manifest. Let there be no contradiction between what you see within and what you confess without. Guarding the lips. You must become a guardian over your lips, not with fear, but with awareness. Do not let complaints slip out unchallenged. Do not let despair clothe itself in words, for every careless word carries power. Every idle phrase plants seed. Guard your speech, for your speech guards your destiny. Speaking in secret. Some of the most powerful speech is not spoken aloud, but whispered within. Your inner dialogue is constant. It never ceases, and it is there, more than anywhere else, that your destiny is shaped. When you walk alone, what do you tell yourself? When you face delay, what do you whisper in secret? When the world seems contrary, what is the conversation of your soul? If that inner voice speaks from the end, then no outer circumstance can move you. The fruit of the tongue. The reward of speaking from the end is sure. Peace in your heart, confidence in your walk, and manifestation in your work. For the tongue is not a small thing. It steers the whole course of life, and when it is set in alignment with your vision, it becomes the rudder that guides you straight into fulfillment. So tonight I charge you with this sacred discipline. Let your words, both spoken and unspoken, carry the fragrance of the end. Let them declare not what is seen, but what is unseen, not what is feared, but what is fulfilled. Do not betray your imagination with careless talk. Do not undo your vision with idle words, but let every conversation, every whisper, every declaration resound with the certainty of your desire accomplished. For when you speak from the end, you summon the power of the end. You call forth the unseen, as though it were already seen. And in time, the seen must bow to the spoken. Remember this. Your speech is prophecy. Your words are law. Your tongue is the voice of creation. Speak from the end, and the end will rush forward to meet you. 8. Persist until fulfillment. My friends, we have reached the step that separates the dreamer from the doer, the wanderer from the master, the wavering heart from the one who stands unshakable. This is step 8. Persist until fulfillment. The necessity of persistence. Every great vision, every dream worthy of your spirit requires persistence. Why? Because the world around you in its present form resists change. The outer realm is slow to reflect the inner. And if you measure by appearances, if you bow before delay, you will surrender your dream before it takes root. But hear me. The moment you give up, you have already declared defeat. You have already agreed with the outer world that your desire will never be. Yet if you persist, if you continue to stand in the end even when all appearances deny it, then your persistence becomes the hammer that shatters opposition, the steady stream that wears down the rock, the unwavering flame that consumes every obstacle, the illusion of delay. Let us look at delay for what it truly is. Illusion. When a farmer plants seed in the soil, does he dig it up the next day and say, "It has not sprouted, so it must be dead"? No, he trusts the unseen process. He waters, he waits, he tends, and he knows that the harvest must come. So it is with your vision. The moment you imagine the end with feeling, the seed was planted. Fulfillment began that very instant. Delay is only the time it takes for the unseen to become seen, for the invisible to clothe itself in form. If you can persist through delay, you will inherit the promise. The temptation to quit. The temptation to quit always comes strongest just before the breakthrough. How many give up one step away from their blessing? How many turn back just as the door is about to open? How many abandon the vision because of a season of dryness, not knowing that fulfillment was already at the threshold? I tell you tonight, do not turn back. Do not abandon the end you have already claimed. Hold fast, for if you can endure the silence, the manifestation must come. Persistence is not struggle. Now let me make something clear. Persistence is not struggle. It is not forcing. It is not anxious labor. No, persistence is resting in the vision, again and again until the vision becomes natural. It is choosing to return to the end every time doubt arises. It is bringing your mind back to the image every time fear whispers. It is answering the world with faith every time it contradicts you. This is persistence, a quiet, steady confidence, a repeated returning, a refusal to let go of the end. Examples of persistence. Think of the inventor who fails 1,000 times before the discovery. Think of the artist who paints canvas after canvas until beauty shines forth. Think of the athlete who trains for years before victory. What is the common thread? Persistence. It is not brilliance alone. It is not strength alone. It is not luck. It is persistence. The refusal to surrender the dream. And if in these earthly pursuits, persistence wins, how much more in the spiritual? For here the law is even more sure. The inner vision held with persistence must shape the outer world. How to persist? How then do you persist? By rehearsing the end daily until it feels like home, by silencing the voice of doubt and replacing it with the voice of fulfillment, by standing in the state of the wish fulfilled until the state feels natural. And when discouragement comes, and it will, you return again to the vision. You do not condemn yourself for doubting. You simply rise again. You do not despise yourself for wavering. You simply return to the end. Persistence is not perfection. It is consistency. It is the continual practice of standing in the end until the end stands in you. The story of the two builders. Imagine two builders. One lays a foundation and begins to build, but storms come, winds blow, and progress seems slow. He abandons his work saying, "It is too hard," and so his house remains unfinished. The other faces the same storms, the same winds, the same delays, but he persists. He lays brick upon brick, even when progress seems invisible, and at last, the house stands complete. So it is with life. The storms will come, the winds will blow, but if you persist, the house of your vision will stand unshakable. The inner reward of persistence. Persistence does more than bring outer fulfillment. It transforms you within. Each time you return to the vision, you strengthen the muscle of faith. Each time you refuse to quit, you rise higher in confidence. Each time you persist, you prove to yourself that you are greater than circumstance. So by the time the outer manifestation comes, and it must, you are already transformed. You have become the kind of person who can hold the blessing, who can walk in the fulfillment, who can command even greater heights. The danger of impatience. Impatience is the enemy of persistence. Impatience cries, "Why is it not here yet? Why must I wait? Perhaps it will never come." But impatience blinds you to progress. It convinces you to dig up the seed just when it was about to sprout. Do not fall into this trap. Trust the process. The unseen is at work. The harvest is on its way. Your only task is to persist, to remain faithful to the end you have already claimed. The victory of persistence. And when you persist, the victory is sure, for law cannot be broken. The vision held in persistence must manifest. You will look back and see that every moment of doubt, every season of silence, every delay was part of the unfolding, and you will stand in awe of the faithfulness of persistence. So tonight let this word be burned into your heart. Persist. When doubt comes, persist. When delay comes, persist. When the world denies you, persist. When your own mind wavers, persist. Return again and again to the vision until the vision becomes your dwelling place. Hold fast to the end until the end holds fast to you. For persistence is the bridge between imagination and fulfillment. Persistence is the hand that refuses to let go. Persistence is the power that carries you from hope to possession. Remember, the end is already yours. Your only task is to persist until it appears. And if you will do this, if you will persist, you will see that nothing, no delay, no opposition, no circumstance can stand against the one who refuses to quit. Persist, my friends, and fulfillment is certain. 9. Live as if already fulfilled. My beloved friends, we have come now to the most vital practice of them all. To live as if already fulfilled. This is the crown of your inner journey. For imagining the end is powerful. Persisting in the end is crucial. But to live as though the end is already accomplished, that is mastery. That is the place where dream becomes reality. The secret of embodiment. Let me declare it plainly. What you embody, you express. What you wear inwardly as your state of being, you radiate outwardly in word, in gesture, in atmosphere. And the world, like a mirror, cannot help but reflect the state you embody. If you walk as though you are waiting, then life keeps you waiting. If you live as though you lack, then life gives you lack. But if you walk, breathe, and move as one whose dream is already accomplished, then life must rearrange itself to confirm your stance. Living from the end. So what does it mean to live from the end? It means you stop asking, when will it happen? And begin declaring, it already is. It means your actions, your decisions, your outlook flow from the certainty that what you desire is already established. You want abundance and live today not as a beggar hoping for scraps, but as one who already possesses. You want love, then move not as one desperate for approval, but as one already cherished, already whole. You want success, then carry yourself not as one striving to reach the mountaintop, but as one who already reigns there. To live from the end is to bring tomorrow's fulfillment in today's step. The energy of fulfillment. Have you ever noticed the energy of a person who is confident, secure, at rest? They do not rush. They do not scramble. They do not beg. They walk with quiet assurance as though everything is already theirs. That is the energy of fulfillment. That is the energy you must wear now. For energy precedes manifestation. The feeling of the fulfilled state is the magnet that draws the outer reflection. Live as if already fulfilled, and the world cannot resist conforming to your inner stance. The trap of waiting. Many stumble here because they live in a constant state of waiting. They say, one day it will come. One day I will be blessed. One day I will have it. And by living in one day, they push the blessing ever into the distance. But life is always now. Creation is always now. Fulfillment is always now. If you live in the waiting, you will wait forever. But if you live in the having, then the having must appear. An example in daily life. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man who has long desired a promotion. He has imagined it, persisted in it, and now he comes to the final test, to live as if it is already his. What does he do? Does he continue to speak as though he is overlooked, undervalued, and denied? No, he begins to carry himself as one already promoted. He arrives with confidence. He speaks with authority. He behaves with dignity. His colleagues sense the change. His superiors sense the shift. And soon the outer role simply rises to match the inner man. That is living as if already fulfilled. The alignment of words and actions. When you live in the end, your words change. You no longer speak of longing, but of gratitude. You no longer complain of lack, but you affirm possession. Your actions also change. You no longer move timidly, as though your dream may or may not come. You move boldly, because in your world it is already done. Words and actions aligned with fulfillment draw fulfillment irresistibly. Living in love, wealth, health. Do you seek love? Then stop moving as one unloved, begging for attention. Instead, live as one who is already cherished. Smile freely, give freely, stand freely, knowing you are already desired. Do you seek wealth? Then stop shrinking. Stop acting small. Stop bowing before limitation. Instead, live as one who already walks in plenty. Make decisions from abundance, not fear. Speak as one secure, not one clinging. Do you seek health? Then stop repeating the language of sickness. Live as one already whole. Carry yourself with vitality. Breathe with strength. Walk with freedom. Even before the body changes, let your state proclaim the healing, the courage to embody. I know it takes courage to live as though your desire is already fulfilled. When appearances say otherwise, it feels like risk. It feels like pretending. It feels like stepping out onto invisible ground. But that is the test of faith. That is the leap that draws the bridge beneath your feet. And what you will find is this. Once you dare to live as if already fulfilled, the outer world rushes to meet your fate. Circumstances shift. Doors open. Opportunities arise. Not because they created your state, but because they responded to it. The atmosphere of fulfillment. There is something magnetic about a person who lives in fulfillment. Their atmosphere is contagious. Others feel it though they cannot explain it. Doors open for them. Kindness flows toward them. Success seems to seek them. Why? Because the world is mirroring their state. Because they have chosen to embody the end before it appears. And so the end appears all around them. Practice living the end. How do you begin? Start small. In your daily conversations, speak as though it is already done. In your posture, walk as though you already reign. In your decisions, choose as though the supply is already yours. Practice this daily, until the state feels natural. At first it may feel forced, but soon it will feel easy, natural, inevitable. And once it feels natural, manifestation is certain. Closing of step 9. So tonight, let this truth sink deep into your spirit. Live as if already fulfilled. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Do not wait for the evidence to appear before you dare to embody the state. The evidence appears only after you embody. Walk as the fulfilled one. Speak as the fulfilled one. Decide as the fulfilled one. For the fulfilled one you imagine, you already. And when you dare to live from the end, you will see the miracle unfold. You will see the invisible become visible. You will see the world conform to your inner stance, for life always mirrors the state you live from. And if you live from fulfillment, then fulfillment must be your life. So I charge you tonight, live as if already fulfilled. Let your life be the proof of your faith, and the promise is sure, you shall have whatsoever you live. 10. The closing and completion. My beloved friends, tonight we stand at the conclusion of this journey. Step by step we have climbed from desire to fulfillment, from imagining to embodying, from dreaming to living. And now at this final step I declare to you, be confident you will get everything in life. This is not a hope, not a wish, not a fragile dream. It is a law, a certainty, an eternal truth. What you dare to assume, what you dare to feel, what you dare to live from, it must become your world. The great completion. Completion is not when the world shows you the evidence. Completion is when you no longer need the evidence because the truth is already alive within you. You complete the journey the moment you accept the desire is fulfilled. From that point on, the outer world is simply catching up. The movie is already written, the scene is already played, and you are merely watching the frames roll out in time. So the final step is not about doing more, but about resting in the done. It is not about fighting, but about trust. It is not about chasing, but about allowing. The confidence of faith. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is not loud boasting. Confidence is the quiet knowing that what you asked, you received. Confidence is walking into a room not wondering if you are enough, but knowing you already are. Confidence is waking in the morning not worrying if your dream will come, but living as though it already has. Confidence is lying down at night not in fear of tomorrow, but in gratitude for the finished work. This is the confidence of faith. And this confidence is the closing step that seals the whole process. Let go of doubt. Doubt is the thief of completion. Doubt whispers, what if it doesn't happen? What if I am deceiving myself? What if I am not worthy? But doubt has no power unless you feed it. It is like a shadow, present, but powerless, vanishing the moment you turn your face toward light. So at this final step, let go of doubt. Release it like smoke in the wind. Stand firm in the knowing that your desire is already secured. That the invisible is more real than what your senses show you. The final act of surrender, the greatest act of confidence is surrender. Not surrender to defeat, but surrender to certainty. To say, it is done, and then live as though it is done. To rest the mind, to stop wrestling, to stop chasing. True power is calm. True power is silent. True power is resting in completion. So let your final act be surrender. Not the surrender of weakness, but the surrender of strength. The surrender of one who knows the victory is already won. Gratitude is completion. Gratitude is the language of completion. The grateful soul is the fulfilled soul. The grateful heart speaks the language of the end already accomplished. So live in gratitude. Thank life for the answered prayer before the answer is seen. Thank life for the manifestation before it arrives. Thank life for the gift before it is unwrapped. Gratitude is the final seal. Gratitude is the sound of confidence. Gratitude is the echo of completion. Living the completed life. From this day forward, let your life reflect completion. No more striving, no more waiting, no more wondering. You are the completed one and your life flows from that place. Speak with the voice of one fulfilled. Walk with the posture of one victorious. Decide with the boldness of one who cannot fail. When you live the completed life, you magnetize completed outcomes. For the world mirrors your state and the completed state calls forth completed blessing. Stories of completion. Think of those who have lived this truth. The ones who rose from obscurity to greatness, who healed from sickness to health, who moved from poverty to plenty. What was their secret? They lived in completion before the world confirmed it. They did not wait for the applause to feel like champions. They felt like champions before the applause. They did not wait for the wealth to feel abundant. They felt abundant before the wealth. They did not wait for the healing to act whole. They acted whole before the healing. And so life had no choice but to bow to their confidence. The circle closed. Now the circle is closed. You began with desire. You entered the state. You persisted. You imagined, you embodied, you lived from the end. And now you complete the circle with confidence, surrender and gratitude. This is the full cycle of creation. This is the eternal rhythm of manifestation. And now the only task left is to live it daily. To carry it not as theory but as practice. To stand firm in the knowing that what you seek you already are. My final charge to you. So I say to you, with all the force of conviction, be confident, be certain, be unshakable. For the life you desire is already yours. Do not look to the outer world for permission. Do not wait for signs to tell you it is safe. Stand now in the finished work. Rest now in the completed dream. Live now as the fulfilled one. And as surely as the sun rises, the world will echo your confidence. Doors will open, paths will clear. People will appear, circumstances will align. But you will no longer be surprised because you already lived it. You already stood in completion. Closing words. And so this journey is finished, not because the world gave you the answer, but because you chose to stand in the answer. Not because the evidence appeared, but because you became the evidence. Now go forth, not as seekers but as possessors, not as beggars but as kings and queens, not as dreamers waiting, but as fulfilled ones living. The confidence is yours. The fulfillment is yours. The life you desire is yours. It is done.